Hello Hastings, I'm Tom Wright. Welcome to another In Studio. Today we're going to talk about something that just became public. Some frustrations became public. We're going to talk about the negotiations going on between the School District 200 and Education Minnesota Hastings. With me to talk about the negotiations are Ms. Julie Malm on the far right there, who is the president of Education Minnesota Hastings. And in the middle here, stuck in the middle here, is Ms. Jessie Holm, the lead negotiator in the negotiations. Thank you both for coming in.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
So yes, I think a few people noticed at the last couple school board meetings, you guys had quite a group show up and make a stand and make it known that it was been over, I think now over 240 days since the contract has expired. So it's got our interest, and I'm sure many people are curious on what's going on and what is it all about? What are the sticking points and all that? Before we get into that, though, let's educate our viewers on perhaps starting with Education Minnesota Hastings. Who makes up this group of Education Minnesota Hastings?
This group, our association is more than 300 teachers. All the teachers on the teaching contract are members of our union. We have 100% membership. We've been negotiating our contract every 2 years for as long as I can remember. We do a 2-year contract each time. So it's teachers.
I see, I see. Just out of curiosity, has it ever been attempted to get longer term contracts? Has it always just been 2?
Not since I've been here, and budgets make it difficult to do that.
Oh, and it really, every district in the state is pretty much on that 2-year cycle, because the state legislature is on a 2-year financial cycle. So every other year, the state focuses on their budget. And so of course, being public education, we're part of that budget. So we kind of actually follow the state schedule.
Got you. Okay. So like I said, over 240 days since the contract has expired. How long before that did you guys start the negotiation to renew this contract?
We started in May last year. So our contract expires July 1st. And so we kind of laid the groundwork, reaching out, got our team together, and contacted the district that we were ready to begin around the beginning of May.
Our first board meeting with the board was in May. And pretty much over the summer, we met almost once every month in the summer and have continued on a similar pattern.
And who is involved in these meetings? Who is there?
Our negotiation team is made up of teachers. I think we have 5 on our team now? 6 on our team. And these are people that are appointed by the president, but they have to have an interest in this and some expertise. Most of ours, the majority of ours are math teachers, which makes it the financial piece much easier. The district's team is usually made up of 3 board members and then the superintendent. Right now we have just 2 because Andy Bertram was on the negotiations team. His term ran out in November, and they chose not to replace him. So there's 2 board members and Tim who negotiate with us.
Well, let's get into what are you guys asking for? What are you asking for in this negotiation that's meeting resistance?
I'll let Jessie.
Our main priorities, in which we set out, we began bargaining with our language items. We kind of break working conditions into language items, and then of course there's the financial package and impact. But from the start, we had our list of priorities, and it's really important to us as citizens of Hastings to have the best and the brightest for our students. And so we really believe that offering competitive benefits and a competitive salary schedule, both geographically and with districts of our like makeup. And then some of the language issues that we really have been focusing on are to have adequate preparation time for our jobs. At the middle school, their schedule has been a challenge, and teachers have not had the same prep schedule as other teachers do. And we're looking for the state minimum at least of how they describe prep time. We have been looking at trying to compensate. We're in the middle of a teacher shortage nationwide, and that's super evident in Our sub shortage. It's sometimes we don't have enough subs to cover when teachers are ill or out of the building. And in our elementary buildings especially, that sometimes means that other teachers have to split a class without the books of the extra 8 kids, without knowing the extra 8 kids. And at a moment's notice, they lovingly do their very best. And we really think that that extra workload should have some type of compensation. And so that's part of our priorities. Our severance, we have a very few number of teachers that still—
Less than 25,
less than 25, that get paid severance when they retire.
Right.
The majority of teachers have a 403B contribution, like a 401k contribution. Okay. And the severance pay was frozen at the 2009 scale. And thankfully our salaries have increased since then, but it's quite a cut than what they had originally thought. So we've been working on trying to negotiate an increase in that.
It was frozen in 2009 because we were in statutory operating debt. We were in a tough financial situation, so the teachers willingly agreed to freeze it, but not indefinitely. And the board has chosen that this is a permanent freeze at 2009 level. Teachers who you had to choose back then, would you stay on severance, which was what was originally offered to teachers, or switch to the 403B? Those who chose severance were not told at that time that there would be a freeze and that the freeze would be indefinite. So making that choice was not a good choice for them. And so now that we're down to just 25 people left, we'd like to raise that up so that it's a better deal for them financially.
So those 25 that did opt for the severance, are they regretting their decision now? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Well, I think that some, we haven't spoke individually with them, but one of the other things that I think is important to mention when we start this process, we survey our members extensively. We do it electronically, paper and pencil. We go out to the buildings and we interview people and what are your top priorities. So that's what we bring to the table. It isn't this small committee who says this is what we're going to fight for. It's what our members are most concerned about and the things that impact their lives the most. And retiring at a 2009 level is a huge sacrifice for people, and really they're not going to retire when they could have retired because of this. It really, you have to stay longer, teach beyond, when you'd like to. So it's
and we do still have some of those teachers could have more than 10 years left before they hit retirement, because they were kind of on the bubble back in 2001 or 1999, of which way to go, and because they assumed their severance would equate to their salary, and they made that decision. Well, in another 10 years, to still only have your retirement at the year 2009 seems quite a hit.
2028, and your severance is frozen at the level it was for teachers in 2009, and it has a huge financial impact on these people.
We'll come back to retirement, but I want to go back to salaries though first and talk about a percentage. I'm guessing, are you asking for a percentage increase in the salaries, a raise at all?
That's usually how it is. We have a very set salary schedule. Ours is about 23 years from the first step you get on till you're frozen at the highest step. And generally, it's bargained that you get a certain percentage per cell. You're paid on your years and on the lanes of on the amount of education you have.
So
we don't get an education.
And then lanes are your level of education.
Right, and we don't have credit reimbursement
for any of our education.
So until we reach certain academic levels, that's how we make more money, and that's how we become better teachers, by being more educated, and all of our education has to pertain to our job. The state, the last financial, which now has been 2 years, legislative session, the state increased general funding to all districts in the state by 2% each year for the year 17-18 and 18-19. The state has increased their funding by 2%. We aren't asking for a 2% increase right now. No, we are.
What are you asking
just
for?
Asking, to be honest, we'll keep that a little close right now, if that's okay, since we're still in the process.
And that is not really even hard, because what we ask for that is dependent on these other issues too.
Right.
But you're not, you can officially say you're not asking for 2% increase?
Well, we've been up and down between that and back and forth. We came in higher than that. The board came in lower than that, and we've been going back and forth. Our benefits are super important to maintain.
Right. What is the history on salary increases? Like, what did you get in the last negotiation, for example?
Great question. First, let me just say that around the district, around the state, the districts that have already settled, the state average is 2.7 right now per year. And that is geographically an average, that's statewide an average. Okay. And what I mean geographically, like local, South Wash, Farmington, DQ. 196, right? Yep. So historically, this is my third round, and I want to say we've been between 1.5% and 2.5% per year.
Okay.
We've had years where we've had freezes.
Absolutely.
When we were in SOD. We had years where we didn't make steps or lanes, where we were frozen in place. So in real tough,
to help the district climb out of that.
And because we did that, they were able to climb out of SOD.
I see.
And SOD is statutory operating debt. Okay. The state says that a district has to be so financially healthy, and when you are below that limit, then there's consequences, and you need to work really hard to make sure you get above that.
Kind of like SOL, but except with numbers.
Yep, exactly.
Now going back to retirement, educate us on the other, not the severance, but the 403B. Is this a match? What is it currently? Is it a match by the school district? What percentage? What is it?
There is a match, and it depends on how long you've been with the district, and it's based on your years and you. So I think the beginning match is
from start to 4 years in the district, I think is $600.
And you can put more in,
right,
which of course you should,
that's
but that's the maximum that can be matched. And I think the maximum match is what?
$35,000 lifetime.
For the lifetime.
So the district, as of now, and we have, that has been part of our bargaining too, to perhaps increase that.
So if you were a starting teacher and you started on 403B, you're going to be about halfway through your career when you've reached your max. And so, we just would like to see that stretched out a little bit further, that in time you could make more. That's one of the things we've talked about. And
then what control do you guys have on as far as what funds that money is put into? Do you have any flexibility on that, or is that a balanced
you go through your own financial person, pick who you're going to go through, and then they file the paperwork with. So you do have control.
Oh, I see. So you can go through anybody.
Well, not absolutely. I mean, there's certain
things.
There's
a list, but it's very similar to if you had a 401k with your job. Gotcha. You have to pick a mutual funds that somebody administers it for you or administrates it for you. So
I see. Okay. Wow. So tell us, that's what you want. What is their response to that? Why are they not giving you
what you want? There's a couple other really important things. Maintaining our benefits is really important to us. Our health insurance. Health insurance, we all know, is a huge expense in all businesses and in public education. But because of our efforts as a union and as all our staff, we have gone to self-funding, which had to be voted on by our members because we are the largest bargaining group. And we are now self-funded. And Jessie and I and some other teachers and board members and other bargaining groups serve on an insurance committee that kind of oversees the process. This is our third year? Or is it fourth? Fourth year that we're going into with self-funded insurance. And we're extremely solvent. We are in a fantastic place. We foresee that there'll be no premium increases in the next year. We could have done 0 this year, but we decided to wait and see just to make sure. And it's extremely healthy. So it really is not that our rates are going up. I mean, some districts have had 10% rate increases. Ours have stayed pretty stable because we went self-funded, which saves money. But also our members have made wellness a real important decision. And we, within the district, we have a wellness committee. People have taken making good choices about health care, prescriptions, things like that, making choices that will benefit the group. So instead of just saying, well, I don't care, I have insurance, I'll go wherever I like, we've made recommendations about where's the best place to get your prescriptions, you know, things like that. What can you do to stay healthy? And we have very high participation on that, and it's reflected in how solvent and how well our plant is doing.
We've had our claims have actually decreased over the last couple of years, and that is because of paying attention. We have a higher deductible plan that many teachers have joined through educating our members and staff, and because of taking on that high deductible plan, you just become more aware. And that is shown in the decrease of claims.
I see. So I'm sorry if I missed this. How much does the school district contribute to the healthcare plans?
It depends. If you're you have the single teacher for VIBA, for all plans that we have, the plans we have.
As of now.
As of now. And that could change how many are offered. That is covered by the district.
Okay.
And then family is set on a percent.
100%, that's 100%?
100% for singles. And that's something, what's interesting about that is in years where there was, we were offered no pay raises, where we were frozen, we were given these types of benefits like this. So it's kind of like being, if they reduce that, it's like having your pay taken away that you've bargained and negotiated. And then families right now are set at a percentage. The teacher or family pays 85.
No.
Excuse me, 15, and the district pays 85.
Okay.
So that's where we are right now. And that's what, you know, we're being told needs to change. They would like to switch from a percentage to a hard dollar amount, which would have to be negotiated every contract. So basically, the teacher would bear all increases in the future.
I see.
And this is one of the things. Our benefit package is one of the things that makes us really attractive to new teachers. I talk with a lot of new teachers, and a lot of them are fresh out of college, and they've had several offers to teach places. And several of them have, and I said to them, why Hastings? This is a little bit of a drive for you. Well, I sat down with my mom and dad, and they looked at all of the handbooks, and they said that the benefit package here is financially the best idea for me. So we've gotten teachers that we wouldn't have gotten if we didn't have that. And with this shortage, is seen to be getting worse. And Minnesota's been kind of late in the game. We didn't get hit as hard as some of the southern states, but the outstate areas and metro, it's very competitive. And teachers' colleges are feeling it. The enrollment is down in teaching programs. So, you know, we need to be competitive, and we need to have something to offer these teachers as they come here. Reducing this benefit package could really have an impact on making it difficult for us to attract teachers and then retain them. Teacher retention is a huge issue nationwide.
Very interesting. Catch us up on where negotiations are at right now. When was the last meeting that you had?
Our last meeting was 2 weeks ago, and actually it was a 5.5-hour meeting in the evening. And we really, I walked out of there thinking, okay, we are on the road to settlement. So some of the things, like we finally got some common ground. Nothing's nailed out, but we kind of have the benefits. Actually, I think we're, as of that meeting, excuse me, we were on common ground, and I want to leave it safe like that right now, if that's okay. Yeah. Just because we both we just want to make sure that we all have the same story before we share everything.
If I ask the viewers to put earmuffs on, will you tell us? That could work.
I better not.
I trust them, right? You guys would put the earmuffs on, right?
We have another meeting scheduled next Wednesday, and in fact, the district has agreed that, you know, it's important enough. We're all going to have a sub come in so that we have plenty of time, and our goal is really to nail this out. Because the district can't make their budget predictions either until they know.
And settle other contracts. They usually settle ours and then move on to the smaller bargaining groups. So,
I see. So it sounds like there's been some progress?
Yes, our last.
I feel like there's some thawing.
Yes,
and that
some
we're
thawing.
actually negotiating, which for a while there didn't feel like it. It felt like we get an offer and it was like, well, no give and take. So
right, and this last.
We're hopeful.
Yes.
Okay. So is there another meeting set on the calendar?
Yep, next Wednesday, and
March
what
7th,
what we kind of have semi-agreed to was contingent on a few of our language items, like our work conditions, like I had said, prep time, substitute time, our substitute compensation.
And about the substitute compensation, if there's no sub available, the district does not pay a sub. And so basically what we've asked is, okay, if you're not paying a sub, then that money, and it's $130 a day, be split between 3 teachers. So we're not talking about a large sum of money that would put the district, it's basically just saying, yeah, this is a hard thing, and this is something we do only when we have to. Because it's really difficult. You show up for work, you've got your lesson plans, you're ready to go, and suddenly you have 8 or 9 more children in your classroom. You don't have a place for them. You don't have materials. You didn't order enough copies of what you need. You don't. Everything. It's a huge deal. And behavior issues. You don't know these kids. So when you know your own kids, it's one thing. But when you're having kids who might have issues and schedules that you're not aware of, it's always a last-minute thing because they haven't found it. So it isn't that we're asking to be. You know, we want to be paid extra for the whole day. We're asking for that fee that they're not paying to a sub be split between the people who are taking on the position.
I see. So it sounds like there might be a chance there might not be a huge group at the next school board meeting. What do you think?
Unless it's to say thanks.
That would be nice.
That could be our signs. Thank you.
The next school board meeting is that day, right?
That's a work session.
That's a work session.
That's a work session. So those usually are pretty small because they're specific to certain district issues.
How often has this happened where you're gone over 240 days since over the contract expiration?
It hasn't happened before because up until 6 years ago, the state had a deadline imposed on all school districts to settle by January 15th. And if the district hadn't settled by January 15th, after the July it had expired, there were some type of financial consequences and penalties.
A fine.
But the legislature repealed that deadline, so there's really not a reason to settle other than it's this cloud of uncertainty.
It made both sides very motivated to settle. The district, because they didn't want to pay out the fine. The teachers, because if they pay out a fine, that's money that won't be on the schedule to help, you know, for your package. So we always were very motivated to get it done. Now we're motivated to get it done. There just isn't as much motivation for districts like there used to be.
This is a question I should have had earlier, but what's as far going back to who's involved in the process, do you guys have a professional mediator that kind of acts as the middle person?
Only the districts and the bargaining groups attempted on their own. And then we reach a time where it seems, gosh, we just can't get on common ground. And one of the parties will file for mediation. And because there are districts in the state that have filed for mediation because they couldn't get on that ground, we knew that the mediator schedules were 5, 6, 7 weeks out. So I did file for our bargaining group with the boards, like one of us. We just kind of agreed, let's get it on the schedule.
So if we need it.
If we need it, we're ready. And we do have a date, a tentative date, if we don't settle. And mediation is not binding, but it is a professional that comes in. We're in one room, the board's in another, and this is where we started, and they look at all the past proposals, the reasoning behind our needs, and how does it impact students, how does it impact the professionals, and so on. So I'm hopeful we get it done before that date.
Great. Yes. Well, well, let's all keep our fingers crossed, huh?
Thank you.
That you both sides.
We'd love to just focus on our jobs.
Yes.
Again. Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Well, for our viewers watching, how can they stay up to date on all the things going on with you guys in this negotiation?
We have a Facebook page, Education Minnesota Hastings, that people can join and view. We also have a Twitter page, and we keep things updated on that.
There we go. Well, thank you both again for your time coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Also want to let our viewers know that I did invite Tim Collins and Lisa Hedin, our superintendent and chair of the school board, to come in and give their side of the story. So I just want to make you guys aware. And hopefully they come in and we'll get to chat with them as well. So you can look for that hopefully on HGTV coming soon. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.